doesn't. The majors we're going to look at separately. I'm still playing with ideas to systematize them. There are ways to systematize them, but I feel like it's like only of service to them to look at everyone individually.
Plus, they're easier anyway.
Huh?
Major arcana cards are easier to understand anyway.
They could be, yeah. Actually, the secret is the major arcanas are the paths between these numbers. So if you look at, like, I'll show you how it all works out here. So you have the 10 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you have 4 suits, 40 cards. The major arcana are the paths between those cards. So when you're going between the 5 of cups and the 6 of cups, the way to get there is through the path of justice. And it makes sense because 5 of cups is our breakup card. It's our like temper tantrum heartbreak card. 6 of cups is like good memories and when you kind of like forgive someone, thinking about the past. How do you get through that? Through the path of justice. How justice interacts with your world and edits away what's not true for you. That's the beauty of it. And that exists for every one of these. This is some really deep stuff though. But we'll get to the majors if we have time. We'll see how we flow with the minors. But let me put these up so you guys can see.
The majors are kind of like rigid in meaning almost. Like, and tell me if I'm wrong. Like rigid in meaning, where the other of the minors are sort of like fluid with what they could mean, right? Is that
I would say, well, the majors are called the greater secrets, and what the majors are doing is they're doing a lot of things, but one big thing is they're talking about a path to enlightenment. This stuff is like not as much in tarot books. You have to go to like the weird occult grimoires for this kind of stuff. But it's like they're talking about a method to become enlightened, but it's hidden because the idea in occultism is you don't want to just like be an asshole like me and shout all this stuff out on the street. It's like they're like kind of elitist, you know. They're like very high end. They're like, oh, you want this stuff, you got to work for it. So they like to hide stuff. So that's one thing that they do. Another thing is they are big shifts in our lives, like spiritually or big changes, and they could be a lot of things. The minor arcana tend to gear more towards day-to-day life, and the reason why that is, in my eyes, is like you'll read in tarot books say minor arcana is like day-to-day stuff. It's because we're working with the 4 elements, and the 4 elements are connected to the sacred name, which are connected to the manifest universe. Whereas the majors are working with all different planes in a way. And that's why when you see the magician card, you'll see him with the 4 elements, because what is he doing? He is consciousness itself. Let's find that sneaky magician. The magician is consciousness itself beholding itself through the material world, which are the 4, here's the 4 suits. So he's manipulating the 4 suits with his attention to create his own reality, which is law of attraction, the advanced version, the weird version, the symbols. Cool. That said, you can use the minors and the majors however you want. There's really no rules in tarot. You know, tarot is just a map, so however you want to play with it. But yeah, that could definitely be so. So, should we go through one of the suits? Which suit should we go through first? What are we feeling?
We do cups.
Cups, yeah, let's do cups. I'm feeling the cups too.
Swords, then afterwards.
Yeah, let's do cups first. So, I might not get through all the suits, but I'm going to give you the tools to decipher the meanings yourself. So again, you can go and buy a tarot book, and there are amazing tarot books. Sasha Graham, who's running this event, has some amazing books out there. She's brilliant. Use this information to deduce your inner meanings of the cards as the core energy, because each card has an energy, and the energy builds up, and over time it accrues more and more meaning, and that's how the divinatory meanings came to be. But yes, so we'll start with the Ace of Cups. So what do we have? We have an ace, which is a seed or an opportunity of a relationship, of emotion, of intuition, of love. So this could be a possibility of a new relationship. Now we can get really crazy and talk about the Mother Mary and the host and the Holy Grail and the dove and da-da-da-da, but we can talk about that another time. Or if you stick around, maybe we'll get into that. But boom, pull that card out, opportunity for a new relationship. 2 of Cups, what is the force? 2 of Cups, water. By the way, the suits and the elements, fire is wands, cups is water, swords is air, and pentacles is earth. So that's the suits. So if we have the 2 of Cups, the force of water, or the will of water, or the will of emotion, could be love, a relationship. So you have this, does that make sense? Some of these you have to meditate with. They're very like abstract. So you have to, the wings, this has to do with an alchemical symbol of the red lion. The red lion in alchemy is nature tamed, whereas the green lion is nature untamed. The idea behind some alchemy and some modern occultism like theosophy is like nature needs humanity to tame it. It's a cool idea. I don't know if I agree with it all the time, but it's an idea.
Maybe it means that if you enter into a relationship, you have to make compromises.
Totally, love that. That's a great meaning. Alchemical lion, and we also have the caduceus and Mercury. That has to do with Mercury, who's like the logos, and this is also connected to Mercury because of the number 2, which is a hidden connection to Mercury, which is the will of the universe and the Big Bang, which you could say is the Big Bang. The will of the universe is to behold itself in love. Oh. Nice, right? See, I like to dive deep. I like, it's like those pretty little like, learn tarot today. It's like, I want to learn about the universe. Like, I want to figure it all right now. Okay, so 3 of Cups, we have form, and we have the idea of the feminine connected with the suit of cups and water, which is emotions. So here we have the idea of understanding, and understanding each other, intuition, groups of people. Very feminine card, like girls' night out. It could be a woman's intuition. It could be, we also have hints of, the idea here is like form, the manifest world in enjoyment of it, because the suit of cups is all about desire. Remember, suit of cups is also desire, it's emotions, it's feelings, it's relationships, it's love. So it's all about getting our wish granted. Does that make sense? How that kind of
vibe? There's fruits in the picture. Does that mean fertility?
Definitely does. You know what? The actual esoteric card title of the card is Lord of Abundance, and the fertility idea comes from its astrological attribution of Cancer. Cancer is the mom of the zodiac. In her second decan, Mercury visits her, and what is Mercury? Mercury's trade. Mercury is like language, communication, so it has to do with good commerce, good business, good stuff happening, wealth, growth. Cancer's the mom, it's like hosting Mercury, and they have a grand old time. It's also the 3 fates, and it's also connected to Persephone, which is a whole other thing, but yeah, totally, fertility. 4 of Cups, so 4 of Cups, number 4 is rigidity, right? Security, comfort. When we get too comfortable with our emotions, we get kind of bored. So this is like being a little bored, or like, like after like the NRE, the new relationship energy dies, it's like, okay, yeah, Netflix and chill vibes.
So why is the cloud offering the cup? Like, is that like saying like, hey, you're too comfortable, it's time to look for something else?
Love that, totally, absolutely. It could definitely be saying that. It could be something he's thinking about. This is called the Lord of Blended Pleasure. So it's about like being too comfortable but not really doing anything about it, but maybe wanting something else. It's also called the Lord of Luxury. This could be the Ace of Cups. He's forgotten the initial beauty of the Ace of Cups, and the energy has lost its purity. And he's now looking at these 3 cups like, I don't know what to do. There's also Buddha under the Bodhi tree asking, what is my purpose? What's the T? Not being satisfied with the world. So lots of stuff in the 4 of Cups. 5 of Cups. 5s are challenges, disruptions. The disruption of the world of cups is of the world of emotion. This is loss. This is grief. This is a breakup card.
He spilled the cups, but he doesn't see the 2 behind him that are actually
exactly, totally. The 2 can lead to a bridge, which leads to this thing, and we could look at these as water, wine, milk. What are the things? Water, wine, milk, and blood, or like the 4 symbols that are for a couple different things. Jesus did a lot of cool things from that. I wasn't there personally. 6 of Cups, the harmony of the suit of cups. I'm gonna just fix that sign. Oh, thank you. Thanks so much. So this is the harmony of the suit of cups. Easier times, easier days, memories of the past. So we have the beauty, the 6 of water. Does that make sense? So it could be the past, could be, this is a big dating card. It's the beginning of a wish. This is childhood, memories of the past, good stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. See, hidden little Christian things. Like we have this like Andrew's cross over here. 7 of Cups. So we have, when we get the number 7, which is feelings, right? Number 7, it has to do with feelings and emotion and motility, combined with the idea of water, which is emotions. We have too much emotion, too much feeling. We're in our head. We desire too much. It's desire natures, all that good stuff. Make sense? Does everyone kind of see how that kind of connects? This is also like if you look at the individual, the desire factor, because sevens have to do with desire, so do cups have to do with desire. So we have extra desire nature. He wants it all. Maybe he can't decide. So 8 of cups. Remember, 8 of cups has to do with submission. He's submitting to a higher purpose. He's leaving behind the cups. 8 is also the intellect. The intellect is leading him away from what he wants emotionally. Some of these things are hidden. You kind of have to look through the image. So again, this course is going to set you on your tarot journey. So when you go to the video, go back, listen to everything, and then take time to study the number, the element, and like explore the card. And actually, if you really explore the card, if you like meditate it, like go in the image, it's called path working. It's like one of the things that like they would have people do in like occult organizations and like Golden Dawn. Like you'd have to path work through the cards and like learn things. Your subconscious would show you things. 9 of Cups, Lord of Happiness, the fulfillment, the final moment of the cups, the end of the cup, the full culmination. You get what you want. But what's under those curtains, right? Cool. Now, when we have the excess of something, what happens? Well, in this occult tradition, when you have the excess of something, and just in a way like you have something that like bears fruit, the fruit eventually gets so heavy it falls to the ground and it plants itself and becomes another tree or whatever. I'm not really good with this material world because I hang out with the Pleiadian space penguins, so I'm still learning about this world, but that happens, right? The seed comes down, it goes into the ground, and it like shoots up in a new organism. So that's the same thing that happens in all the 10s. So the 10s are the excess of the suit. So when we have the excess of water, the excess of desire, emotion, relationship, what happens? We give birth to children, whether that's blood family or chosen family, or we choose a wider family. The love overflows. And those two are the secrets of the ace. Well, it might be dripping. They were working on some stuff earlier.
Or is it dripping?
I think it's dripping.
No, it felt like more though than just that. That's like right there.
Cool. So does that make sense? It's like the overflow of the element into other worlds or other people's worlds. Childbirth, family, expansion, happily ever after. Cool. So let me see, what time do we have now? Does anyone know what time it is?
7:41.
7:41. Okay, we should probably jump into the court cards, which are not that hard when I explain it in this way. And then if we have time, we'll jump into the majors. So you can do that for every suit. Combine the meaning of the number, meaning of the element. You'll get a general idea. From that general idea, start to study the picture. One thing to keep in mind, this deck is called an exoteric tarot. So this deck is meant for divination. So it's not like the tarot. It's kind of like the user-friendly upfront version of the tarot that exists behind it, which is like the manual version. So all these images are only examples of what the actual card could be. So the 10 of Cups is more than a happy family, but this is an example of what the 10 of Cups could mean, which is great for divination. Cool, so let's go into some court cards. So the idea behind the court cards is we're taking the 4 elements. We have our 4 suits, right? We have 4 offices in the court cards. We have a king, we have a queen, we have a knight, and we have a page in the system. Each of those offices are an element in themselves. So the kings are air, the queens are water, the knights are fire, and the pages are earth. So now all you have to do is when you know that, and I should have written it here. Do I have it here? No, I don't have it here. Do I? No. So this is the kings. This. Oh, sorry. Yeah, knights. There. Oh, I do have it. I have it written down. Oh, knights here. Knights, queens, kings. There's another system which switches it, which goes into a crazy thing. But yeah. So we have knights as fire, queens as water, kings as air, and pages as earth. So all we do is take that idea of the office and multiply it by the element. So let's look at this. So we have King of Wands, which is king, he's air, wands, he's fire. What is air applied to fire? It's the intellect applied to creativity or passion. So this is someone who's taking their intellect and applying it to their passion. What could that be? Could be a business owner, could be an entrepreneur, could be a CEO, could be any of that. So Queen of Wands, we have water applied to fire. Water is intuition, feeling. This is someone who really connects to their intuition, their feeling, their feminine side, but is also really passionate and really fiery. This could be, I don't know, Beyonce. I always see her as a pop star. This is like the Lady Gaga, I don't know. I love Lady Gaga. Free Britney, it's time. So this could be like, yeah, intuitive plus fire. This could be a businesswoman. Also the Witch of the Tarot, because like we have a cat, lots of Aries energy here. So Knight of Fire, double fire, never trust them. They're always on their way out. Though they're just crazy, very impulsive, stunt double vibes. Double dose of fire, they're always moving forward, very explosive. Anger is a big thing, they're Sagittarius energy. Passion, a lot of exciting stuff. Page of Wands, Earth of Fire. So the idea with the pages is they're kind of like, they're the grounding forces of the elements. So a Page of Wands is, we can look at pages as people that study something, or young people, or their apprentices, or they might be delivering messages. So he's studying fire. He's studying one of his passions, or his business, or studying some creative art, maybe. A wannabe, totally a wannabe. Hey, we all start with the pages. We've all been a page one day. They actually govern material space in the tarot, like astrologically, they govern parts of the world. It's very interesting. King of Cups, air and water together. Air applied to water, so we have the intellect applied to emotions. What's that? That could be art, philosophy, great works of art, thinking, feeling, poetry. He's a happy family guy. So kings are like the decision makers. They're like, but they're not that, they don't necessarily take the action, they make the choices. So this could be like the Godfather or something, big family energy. Make sense on king? So Queen of Cups, double water, the most intuitive of all the court cards. So she's a healer, she's an empath, she's the deep ocean, she's Cancer energy. Double dose of water, lots of depth here. She has connections to the priestess and the star and all that good stuff. Knight of Cups, our favorite fuckboy, fire and water. They come on strong, but they don't stick around. No, the Knight of Cups is fun. They're like, so fire, the passion of emotion. People that like jump into, you know, this could be artistic people, this could be like romantic, hopeless romantics, knight in shining armor vibes. There's a secret connection to the death card you'll notice, image-wise. That connects him to Scorpio, which, yeah, he's either Scorpio or Pisces, depending on your system. I see him as Pisces because I see him as fire, but yeah, it depends.
Does that mean what comes first? Like the knight is like the first half, so what interpretation do you apply to like the cups portion?
What do you mean?
Like,
what comes first?
Like Queen of Wands, and how is that different from like Knight of Cups?
So the way this is divided up is we have the sacred name, which is multiplied by itself to create 16 ideas pretty much. The 16 ideas are the 4 elements and their sub-element. So you would start with fire, water, air, earth.
Okay.
There's a little bit of a blind. I think in the Renaissance it was fire, air, water, earth, which actually makes more sense because our minds, the thought happens first, which triggers memorized emotion in the body, the emotion, and then the physical action of the body, but that's a whole other thing. But so yeah, you would really go Knight of Wands, Queen of Wands, Prince of Wands, and then Princess of Wands. That's the system that underlies this system. But weight changed things up a little bit to make it kind of more in line with like a family system, I kind of see, or like a more medieval system. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I just like wanted to see what like interpretation do you take if like the same element and the sign, which one? I think the sign. Takes place. I don't know if I'm like.
Oh, all the.
Knight of Cups and what Queen of Wands.
Yeah.
Because there's same elements in the same card.
Yes, exactly.
Same elements in the
So,
same
like,
cards.
Queen is water.
Oh, what comes first? Oh, okay. So what I would say, it's kind of like this. The four cups offices, they actually all exist in the Ace of Cups. So we have the Ace of Cups, which is here. Within the Ace of Cups, we have the 4 court cards. And in a way, within the 4 court cards, we have the 10 numbered cards. So they all exist in the Ace, and then their office element is their sub-element. So I would say what comes first is the suit. So he's primarily water, but water in its style of fire.
Okay.
So I would say a fiery type of water, which in this tradition, in the esoteric tarot, would be called Lord of the Waves and the Waters. So they say, how is water fiery? Well, there's waves, there's rain, like anything that's intense or like, yeah. So I would say he's water, fire style.
Okay, that makes sense. I was just trying to see what.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the structure of it, but now it makes more sense.
Totally, yeah. Because they all live in the Ace of Cups, so they're all primarily water. So the Page of Cups is like water, earth style. Now, if you really want to go down the wormhole, you could study, there's all these qualities of hot, dry, wet, hot, cold, wet, and dry, which comes out of like ancient Greek philosophy, and you can apply all those qualities to the elements, which give these more characteristics. But again, this is just more wormholes for you to discover if you want. So Page of Cups is earth and water together, so he's like learning about emotions and feelings in the inner world. I always see him as like that sensitive child, like, you know, not the one that like went and did sports, but like the sensitive one that needed time alone to like feel things. Like, I forgot, I saw a funny skit about that, and I was like, oh my god, it's me. Okay, so King of Swords, double air, the Judge, big Judge energy, big Aquarius energy, very intellectual, exists very much in theory. Anyone in theory, like philosophers, could be scientists, could be any of that, could be lawyers, but I see Knight of Swords a little bit more as lawyers. Queen of Swords, water and air together. So we have air in its water drag, so to speak. So we have air, which is the mind, but showing up as water, which is intuitive and flowy. So we have intuition and intellection coming together. She's tough. She's very poised, very together, very balanced. Yeah, she's the widow of the cards, so to speak. Because swords are violent, and swords have to do with society and death and ego.
Somebody who hides their emotion.
Could be someone who hides their emotion. Yeah, they are. They could be very cold, yeah. But they have it. They know how to use it, too. Knight of Swords, fire of water. This is assertive energy, bully energy. This could be like good speakers, good talkers, very fast ideas, rushing into something, lawyers. Page of Swords, earth and air together. So when I get earth and air, I see the material world and the intellectual world of ideals and ethics. This is social justice warrior energy. She's tough. She's connected to Medusa. She's also studying something intellectual. She's very curious, very sneaky. So the earth, we have the air as a king applied to earth. So earth, money, in its style of air. And you know, one thing I've been thinking about, like this country, the US, it's like so much of this economy exists in abstraction. Like in the city, like everyone is in a cubicle playing with abstraction, but you never see, or you rarely see someone literally making something, right? It's all like, how much business is abstraction? CEO energy. Everything is ideas and language and marketing and blah, blah, blah. Just an interesting thought. Queen of Pentacles, we have the Queen, which is water, the watery side of earth. So water is emotions, intuition, and earth is money and material world. The intuitive nature of the earth itself. And what is that intuitive nature? It's frolicking, there's a bunny here, it's fertility, it's health, it's all these things. See how you could really dive into the cards and deduce why things are the way they are? So now we have a knight, we have the fiery aspect of earth. This is our workhorse, this is our Virgo energy, always busy. Like, he's the only knight that's not like going somewhere, he's stationed. And he's also, in some decks, he's like a farmer. So he's not fighting, he's not delivering, he's working. And then we have double earth here in the Page of Pentacles. The best student you could ever imagine. Very grounded, studying something, very involved with something. It's all good stuff. So it's double earth. There's something magical that happens in this card too. There's something called a reintegration. So remember in the tens, there was the overflow, and when there's an overflow, that energy flows into something else to recreate a journey and to start a new journey. Same thing happens in the Page of Pentacles. They don't tell you this in the intro books, they should, because now when you know that this Page of Pentacles leads up into the Knight of Wands to start the whole thing over again. So there's 3 cycles that happen in the tarot. There's 3 flowing loops. There's the court cards, numbered cards, and then there's the major arcana cards. Cool. Any questions so far? So we keep going? Keep going through the whole deck? Any questions so far? Let's do it. Let's go through the Fool. So the Fool is, so do you guys want to hear divinatory meanings or like occult significance?
I think divinatory.
I know that's leap of faith.
Leap of faith, love it. Okay, we'll do divinatory.
Start a journey, right?
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll go through the divinatory meanings. If you want to stick around for occult stuff, we can do that later. So yeah, start of a journey, a leap of faith, jumping into something too. There's also the Big Bang. Yeah, totally new incarnation, jumping into something new. But it is also folly. because spirituality and folly are not so far apart, or like insanity. There's been connections to that. Magician card, a consciousness itself, talent, ability, skill, focus, the ability of the intellect to focus, to speak. Consciousness, subconsciousness, intuition, psychic ability, initiation, esoteric secrets. High priestess. Well, B and J stand for, no, they actually stand for Yachin and Boaz. I think Yachin and Boaz, which are two pillars of Solomon in Solomon's temple from the Torah. So she's like standing at the threshold of Solomon's temple of all the esoteric secrets. And have you ever heard of the idea like we're all drops of water returning to the vast ocean of consciousness? Have you ever heard that idea?
I heard that one.
Well, if you look behind her veil, there's a vast ocean, and that vast ocean is the collective unconsciousness of everything, from which everything came. Remember how we started on the whole LOA, law of attraction, big mind thing? So Empress, baby making, love. This is Aphrodite and Venus and the material earth itself, or at least the ability of the material world to happen. The fertility on any scale. This is that fertility organizing itself in a separate unit of consciousness.
The interpretations I read of the Empress say that she's pregnant, but I guess in the Victorian age they tried to disguise it.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah, she's definitely pregnant. I mean, she is like the cosmic gateway of everything. So I definitely see that. Emperor, ego, rule. This could be relationship with mom and what's called the survival circuit, which is our relationship with sustenance with mom. This could be relationship with dad, which is the territorial survival circuit, which is like our ego, development of the ego. Rule, law, all that good stuff. Hierophant, anything that is a tool for spirituality that connects you with the higher. So a lot of tarot readers don't like the Hierophant because of their feelings about what the Hierophant represents as maybe the Pope or whatever. And Hierophant could be the tarot itself is a Hierophant, you know, any deliverer of information. The Lovers, love, but also choice, but also separation, multiplicity. Those are three very distinct meanings that can go into a lot of areas. Very deep card. It's the whole creation process, you know, whether you're looking at it like through Genesis or not Genesis. There's a lot of deep stuff here. Chariot card, all of that I just told you coming together, resulting in the Chariot card. There's little symbols of all the other cards. This is conquest and being in alignment with yourself and moving forward and all that good stuff. Strength card, harnessing your inner energy, harnessing your creativity, your animal nature, self-control, channeling. The Hermit card, time alone, but also very, very deep card, one of the deepest cards. Has to do with one of the forms of God. But yeah, alone time, doing your own thing, asceticism, enlightenment. The Wheel of Fortune, the material world in its representation as continuous change. Could also be luck, expansion, cycles, ups and downs, lots of deep stuff here. If you ever read the Bhagavad Gita, have this card as a bookmark, and you can see little connections between what the Gita is talking about and the tarot. Hi, I can get you a seat if you want to sit down. Yeah, pull up a seat. We're just going through the majors now. We're going through divinatory meanings with a small side of esoteric spice. Justice card. So this is my karma card, and that has to do with its connections to Libra and its Hebrew connections. But this is justice. Could be inner justice, justice of the world, law, editing, any types of editing. Remember before how I said when we were looking at the Tree of Life, when you have that breakup of the Five of Cups or something doesn't work out and you want to get to the Six of Cups, which is a more fun card, you take the path of justice. So justice is here, that's this path. So what does justice do? It kind of sets us straight, it balances us. It shows us the consequences of our actions so we can learn. And that's like one of the deeper meanings of justice. It's also the whole Newtonian universe in its act to constantly act and react, like billiard balls. Hanged Man, initiation, new perspectives. This is a big, deep card. If you study this card with the Empress and the World's card, there's a lot of hidden connections there. So the Hanged Man is initiation, surrender to the higher mind, or just being stuck. Death card. My thing with Death card is like, you know, people say like, oh, we need a card they say of the Death card like, it's rebirth. And I'm about that, but like every card is rebirth, like every single card in the tarot is change. So can we just have one card that's like not the fun sides of rebirth? So to me, death is the shitty ass part of change. It sucks. It's the change that we don't want, that we're eventually grateful for on the other side, but like, yeah, it's a loss. I mean, yeah, we have the sun rising up, we have the towers of the moon in the back, we have like the white rose, and there's a lot of good stuff, but it's a loss.
You think the death card is worse than the tower card?
So to me, the tower is talking about, on the esoteric scale, it's talking about something that's larger, like it's talking about a level of enlightenment, whereas death is talking about like a little bit more common. Like this is so this is in the second row, it has to do with like normal death, or like in the tower is like more of a spiritual enlightenment or a death of an entire reality, so to speak. But it could be whatever you want. It could be maybe tower is like death on fast forward, if you want it to be. I mean, there's some things, yeah, there's stuff on the Tree of Life too, but that's kind of how I view it generally. The tower card is also connected to the lovers, and you'll also see that the people on the tower card in the 9 and 10 of swords. So the woman in the 9 and the man in the 10 of swords. But yeah, death card is like a loss of something. It doesn't have to be all trauma and drama. It doesn't have to be physical death. It could be death of anything. I would say physical death for me, if you use that in your tower practice, is more 10 of swords. But it's up to you. So temperance is the recovery from death, bringing things together, alchemy. Very simple, two opposite things, bringing them together. So whereas death, we're separating things apart, things are getting like kind of dissolved, this is bringing it all back together. Big healing card, lots of good stuff here. Devil card, the material universe, simply put. Whatever your relationship with the material universe is, whether it's unbalanced with addiction or if it's harmonious, it is, yeah. Compare this to the Lover's card. There's a lot of good stuff here, interesting stuff here. This comes from an image called Baphomet, which is a synthetic deity. What I mean by synthetic is history suggests, or people have suggested, that Baphomet was created like kind of for shits and giggles, but like if you ever see Baphomet, he's the guy that does this a lot. They say that the Catholic Church invented Baphomet to blame the Knights Templar for worshiping an idol. Who knows? Maybe he stems from something else. I think he's like a Western yin-yang. That's a whole nother thing. Anyway, the Tower card. So yeah, this is all of a sudden a destruction of everything you thought was important or normal or real.
Get like your ass fired from a job.
Totally could be getting fired, yeah. And that's a really good one because Tower does connect to the material world a lot with its association with Mars. So yeah, this is big. Yep, falling, chaos, lots of stuff here. The Star is the recovery from that, which, so the idea here is this is like when everything dissolves into chaos, the Star is the divinity of that chaos to be the potential for everything. So the Star is not any one star, it's the whole starry sky. It's space itself. Space itself to happen and expand as a universe and coagulate in different forms to create solar systems and whatnot. It all comes from the Star. Lots of goddesses attributed to this card. Lots of deep stuff. There's also your vision, a new hope for yourself, a new identity. Yeah, 7 chakras, there's a bunch of stuff. The Moon card is the subconscious nature or the unconscious nature. So here's a really fun mystery that I don't see a lot in tarot books. This entire image is an illustration of the evolutionary process based on what was known at the time of the creation of this deck, kind of. So the idea is we have the collective unconscious. From there arises like amphibians and all these weird creatures. From there arises a wolf. Over here, the wolf is domesticated into a dog, and then humanity eventually builds structures and keeps moving forward. So it's like our evolutionary path as it exists in the cerebellum specifically, and that's connected Kabbalistically. So this is the back of the head, all the unconscious shit. So this could also be psychic ability, mystery, fear, not knowing what's next, having to use your intuition. Compare it to the Priestess card. This is a good study exercise. The Sun is our consciousness. This is like vitality, all good things. This is the S-O-N and the S-U-N. Fun stuff, we have Aben. So stone in Hebrew, I believe, is Aben. And Ab, I think, is son or father, and Ben is the other one. So when you combine father and son, you get stone. And there's a little hint at father and son, whether you take that from a Jewish lens, a Christian lens, whatever. That's a big idea here. Spontaneity, success, life, liberty, happiness. Lots of good stuff here. The natural, the radiating and vibratory qualities of the universe in the sun. Judgment. Okay, so the idea here is this is awakening, any kind of spiritual awakening or personal awakening. The idea here is it's the last possible moment before you are reabsorbed into the higher mind that we were talking about when we were talking about like Hermeticism and all that old spiritual stuff. Yeah, this is the last judgment biblically. It's actually a very fiery card. And then the world, which is the universe fully manifested or fully reabsorbed back into itself. So this is the fulfillment of any endeavor, the ultimate completion. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. Lots of stuff here. I'm like, I don't want to talk about any one thing because then I'll keep talking forever. Okay, so now you have all the majors. You have all the tools that you need to find the meanings of all the minors. And if you do this, you'll have an entire notebook of the entire tarot deck, and all those meanings will come from abstract ideas that interact with your subconscious, connecting to your awareness, and you'll have your whole personal tarot deck you can start reading whenever. Cool. Any questions?
Stop memorizing other people's tarot card meanings. Instead, do this. You're about to learn all 78 tarot cards in just 2 techniques. There are so many books and videos and resources out there that will give you all sorts of tarot card meanings, including my new book. But that's not enough to give a solid reading. You need to know why the cards mean what they mean. And in this video, you're going to learn the deeper meanings, not through memorizing other people's tarot card meanings, but through understanding the inner system of tarot. What makes it not just a superstitious tool of fortune telling, but a full psycho-spiritual technology of personal inquiry, mystical understanding, and spiritual growth. By the end of this video, you're gonna have everything you need to pull a card and really know the message, whether you're reading for yourself or for others. So get your notebook out because we're starting now. To learn these 2 techniques that will teach you the entire tarot deck, you need to understand the structure of the tarot. So if you don't know yet, the tarot is divided into 2 sections, the major arcana and the minor arcana. The major arcana, that means greater secrets, and the minor arcana, meaning lesser secrets. To summarize a lot of esoteric material, the major arcana essentially show us the underlying spiritual shifts and patterns underlying our daily experience. The minor arcana show us how these patterns manifest in our daily lives. With 78 total cards, 56 cards are in the minor arcana and 22 cards are in the major arcana. You're going to learn a technique to easily uncover the meanings of all 56 minor arcana, and you're going to learn a second technique to easily uncover the meanings of the 22 major arcana. Let's start with the minor arcana. How do you read the minor arcana? I'm going to teach you the suit symbol method. To use this method, you're going to need to know a little bit about the 4 elements of the tarot. The minor arcana is divided into 4 suits. I'm going to teach you the suit symbol technique so you understand the system that is the minor arcana of the tarot. You'll need to know a little bit about the 4 elements to use this technique, so let's go through them now. Our earliest records of the 4 elements stem from a Greek philosopher mystic named Empedocles. He essentially got enlightened by laying down very still in a cave, kind of like yoga, and then started telling people all about these 4 elements. Esoterically, the 4 elements symbolize 4 worlds of emanation of reality and teach us how the universe is created and destroyed. But that's for another video. In the tarot, they represent 4 common areas of questioning, of personal inquiry. By the way, you can download this for free at tarotmysticismacademy.com/e-books. I have a bunch of free guides that will coincide with this video and some of my other free videos. I will link that in the description below. So once you've downloaded that, let's look at our 4 suits. The first suit is a suit of wands, and it represents fire. Fire represents your career, your ambitions, your creativity, your desire, and mostly your higher purpose, what you're meant here to do. The suit of cups represents water, which symbolizes relationships, emotions, intuition, family, love. The suit of swords represents the element of air, which represents our mind, our ego, society, our sense of ourselves, but also conflict. The suit of pentacles, or discs, or coins, as it is in other decks, represents the element of earth, which shows us our materiality, our bodies, our money, our stuff, our wealth, the physical world. So to summarize, the 4 elements show us how do we get paid, how do we get laid, how do we stay unafraid, and how do we enjoy life's parade. That's all you need to know to start reading the minor arcana of the tarot. This is called the suit symbol method. It involves combining the meaning of the suit and its corresponding element with the scene of the card. This works perfectly with Rider-Waite-Smith-based tarot decks, which is what 95% of today's tarot decks are based off of, but it works with other traditions too. And if you want more on the Thoth deck, y'all know I have many videos on that. All you have to know to use the suit symbol method is to remember that the suit symbol represents the element, symbolizing all that that element is connected to. To understand the meaning of the card, you look at the relationship between the suit symbol and the scene. This gives you the meaning. Let's take the 8 of Swords, for example. If we know that the suit of swords represents the mind, then we can see these swords as representing aspects of this person's mind. We see that this woman is bound and blindfolded right in the middle of these swords. She is literally trapped by these swords. You could say that she is trapped by her own mind. See how easy it is? Using the same technique for the 5 of Cups, we notice somebody is looking downwards at 3 cups that are spilt and 2 cups standing up behind him. If we know that cups represent emotions and relationships, this could represent literal relationships that are done. Relationships that have been spilt. It could represent a card of loss, grieving, mourning, or breakup. So that technique covers the numbered cards of the minor arcana. But what about the court cards? If you have any struggle reading the court cards, pay attention because this is going to make it so easy. We're going to use the same suit symbol method. All you have to do is remember that the suit symbol represents the element and all that it's connected to, and combine it with the scene of the card. Let's look at the Page of Swords, for example. We have this youth that looks like they're standing on a hill, and it's almost like they're looking back and forth, or they're readying themselves for something. What do we want to do? First, notice the suit symbol. We have a sword. What does a sword represent? Ego, conflict, thought, ideas. Look how they're holding it. They're holding it with a readiness to fight. They're wielding their ego. They are wielding their capacity for conflict. They are wielding their ideas, and they're searching for something. This is somebody who's excited to get their ideas out into the world, excited to learn, but also unafraid of conflict. All of that I just got from combining the suit symbol with the scene. By the way, I have an entire free mini course on this method that you can access here or by clicking a link in the description that goes through all the cards using the suit symbol method. So now that you know how to read the minor arcana, let's move on to the major arcana. What most people don't understand about the major arcana cards is what they really represent. Tarot is a contemporary expression of a unique synthesis of various spiritual and mystical traditions, including Hermeticism, alchemy, Neoplatonism, and more. Many of these Western esoteric traditions stem from a general philosophy of emanation. The idea was essentially God, the divine, the ultimate truth, the absolute, nothing but the truth, so help me God, creates, becomes, or is the world through emanation, meaning that God or the divine sort of reflects or pours itself beyond itself into lower and lower manifestations of itself. This started way back with Plato and probably even before him, but this YouTube video is not a history class, so what does this have to do with tarot? Well, every single major arcana card is an expression of emanation. It expresses how the divine becomes the material. It expresses the very popular Hermetic axiom, as above, so below. For more on Hermeticism and mysticism like this, check out my videos in the description. But what does this have to do with reading the tarot cards? Literally everything. Whenever you pull a major arcana card, the reading is showing you how the divine is manifesting for you in your life, how the above is literally becoming the below. As I told you, we're going into the deeper meanings. This is not your mama's tarot lesson. Each one of these major arcana cards represents the emanation of divine to material in a different way. But how do you know which way? How do you know what they mean? Well, luckily for you, I've created a guide that goes through every one of the major arcana cards and shows you the relationships between the divine and the material. You can download this at tarotmysticismacademy.com/e-books or with the link in the description. Once you've downloaded that, let's begin. As I said, each of the major arcana cards will represent to you a relationship between the divine and the material. Another way to look at this is that each major arcana card represents its own little creative process. They each create differently. For example, the Fool represents how something comes out of nothing. The Fool represents somebody walking off a cliff literally into possibility, or as Arthur Edward Waite would say, spirit in search of experience. So the Fool represents something coming out of nothing, and this can be anything. To really understand the Fool, you're going to want to write and think about how you, as an agent of the divine, as a manifestation of the absolute, have created something out of nothing. The Magician, on the other hand, represents the movement from the subject to the object. You, the subject, your consciousness right now, observing an object, this video, if you're still watching. And thanks if you are. In the Magician card, we see a ceremonial magician draw the energy from the divine into manifestation. The objects are the 4 suits on his table. The subject is, in one sense, him as the magician, but in another sense, the divine itself. The magician thus represents how we mold our realities by reaching our energy outwards into objects of our experience. So whether that's through our talents, our gifts, our abilities, our knowledge, people, places, and things, it's all about how we manipulate the objects of our life to create the life we want. It's all about manifestation. Speaking of manifestation, if you want to manifest more tarot knowledge, I invite you to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you know when I put out more videos on tarot, mysticism, and beyond. Let's move on to the Priestess. The Priestess represents the conscious going into the subconscious. So very simply, she represents the subconscious, whether that's the intuition, the divine feminine, secrets, or the unknown. Literally, in the card, you can see the energy going from above into below. She is a personification of the subconscious threshold between conscious experience and unconscious secrets. Pretty much every major arcana illustrates the movement of energy from literally above to literally below. By following the imagery on the card and the words that I offer you in this guide, you'll have the major arcana in no time. For more detail on the major arcana card, see the video in the description where I'll go through all the majors. What are your thoughts? What have you found effective? Comment on this video and let me know what has helped you and what you would like to see more of. Now, there's so much more I'd like to teach you. Tarot goes way beyond tarot reading. It's connected to astrology, Hermeticism, Kabbalah, personal growth, energy work, healing, mystical experiences. It's literally a map of how we can become enlightened. And that's what I teach at the Tarot Mysticism Academy. If you're really serious about tarot, if you want to learn to confidently read for yourself or others, or if you want to learn these mystical disciplines to achieve more freedom, greater levels of peace, more love, and more fun in this life, then I definitely recommend Tarot Mysticism Academy. I have over a dozen courses, one-on-one coaching, all sorts of programs, a mastermind where I help people do all of this. I was self-taught for many years and I got pretty far, but it really wasn't until I met my mentor where my life totally transformed. Some of these things you really can only learn from a mentor, and if you feel called, I'm excited to work with you. You can find more information at tarotmysticismacademy.com, and I look forward to seeing you in the next wormhole. Much love.
The next what? Wormhole? What?
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Matrushka Tips channel. So, if you've
Matrushka, she's got a new tip for us. Let's see.
ever felt invisible around women, or like you're doing everything right but still not getting noticed, this video might be for you. But a little disclaimer first. This video is meant to offer supportive and motivational advice to men who are working on their personal growth and relationships. It's not about changing who you are, it's about becoming more confident, more intentional, and self aware. Yes, every man's journey is different, and these tips that I share in this video are based on general female and my perspective, not strict rules. So take what helps you, leave what doesn't, and always stay true to yourself. So today I'm going to share 5 simple habits that can make you way more attractive, not just physically, but in a way that women truly feel. And no, you don't need to be rich or look like a model. Let's get started. Confidence doesn't always mean being loud. A lot of times it's how you carry yourself. When you walk into a room, stand up straight, relax your shoulders, lift your chin just a little and keep your movements slow and steady. You don't need to act tough or take up space aggressively. Just move like a man who knows where he's going, even if you are not sure yet. Because women pick up on this instantly. That quiet strength, that self control, it's powerful. And the best part is, even if you're nervous or unsure inside, the way you carry yourself can start to shift how you feel on the inside too. Because confidence is something you train in your body first. Practice this every time you walk through a door or even when you're alone. Make it like a habit, and over time, people and especially women will see you differently, believe me, because you will start seeing yourself differently too. Okay, next. Attraction isn't just about looks, your energy, your tone, your words matter so much. A man who speaks calmly and with purpose stands out. You don't need to say a lot, you don't need to impress anyone with big stories or try too hard to be funny. Just be present, listen more, and when you do speak, take a breath before you answer. Make eye contact, keep your tone steady. That alone shows self-respect, and women notice that. It's not about being cold or distant, it's about being solid. A man who doesn't need to feel every silence shows emotional control. And emotional control is very masculine, believe me. It makes a woman feel like she's around someone grounded, and that grounded feeling, it's one of the most attractive things you can offer. So speak with intention and don't be afraid of quiet moments, okay? They speak louder than you think. Okay, this is one of those things that sounds obvious, but a lot of men underestimate how powerful it is. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. Clean fingernails, trimmed facial hair, clothes that fit your body even if they are simple, skin that looks like you care, and smell, that's a big one. A subtle masculine scent does more than you think. It creates memory. When a man looks like he respects himself, women take that as a signal that he can also care for others. It shows that you're intentional, that you're not just waiting around for life to happen, you're active in how you present yourself. That effort stands out, especially in today's world where so many people just go with the bare minimum. So don't groom just for dates. Do it for yourself every day. That's how it becomes natural. That's how you carry yourself differently, because you will feel better, cleaner, sharper, and more attractive even when no one is watching. Okay, next. Nothing is more attractive than purpose. When a man has something he is building, learning, improving, or aiming for, his energy changes. He walks differently. He speaks with more clarity. He doesn't seek constant validation because he's already in motion. And women feel that. Yes, we do. When you're focused on your growth, your mission, your next step, you stop needing to impress anyone. You're not needy. You're not chasing. You're just becoming. And that's powerful. Women don't want to be the center of your world. They want to join a man who already has a world he believes in. So set your goals, I always say. It doesn't have to be something massive. Even small progress builds momentum. Read more, lift heavier, build something, learn something new, language, new skill. Be a man who wakes up with direction, and you will attract people who want to be part of that energy. Next. So let me tell you, kindness isn't weakness. It's actually one of the strongest qualities a man can have when it comes to, when it comes from confidence. Be the guy who opens doors, who says thank you, who shows respect to everyone, not just women. But don't do it hoping someone will like you back. That's the part where a lot of good men lose their power. Women can feel when your kindness is coming from fear or from a place of needing approval, you know what I mean? But when it comes from self-respect, it feels safe. It feels strong. It feels like maturity. That the goal is to be kind and have boundaries here. Be generous, but not someone who, lets people walk all over him. Be open, but don't overshare just to connect. Be available, but not, desperate for attention. That balance is rare, and when you master it, you become unforgettable, believe me, not because you are flashy, but because you are solid. So if you're working on yourself, I want you to know women do notice. We notice the posture, the calm voice, the attention to detail, the focus, the kindness. Keep building those habits, even if no one says anything yet. It's working. You don't need to become someone else. Just become the strongest version of who you already are. And I'm proud of you for watching this. Keep going. You're way closer than you think, believe me. See you in the next one. Bye.
Hello everyone, in this video I've put together tutorial.
Hey,
Hi,
let me ask you
welcome.
something.
Kat from Sacred
Why is she
Soul
still
Rising. So we're in full moon energy. The full moon hits us on the 13th of April, but remember that energy and frequency is 3 or 4 days before and 3 or 4 days after. This is a channeled message for anybody who is on the divine, beautiful twin flame journey. And this message is for the divine feminine. How can you use this beautiful moon frequency, this Libra full moon frequency, to really catapult your journey forward? And what you're being asked in this full moon is to really step into that sovereignty energy, to really step into that sacred energy of the feminine. We know that those sacred light frequencies and light codes are activated, but if you do not feed and water them, they will die and shrivel up. So I ask you, divine feminine, first of all, before we get deeper into this channeled reading, where is your focus at the moment? Is it on the masculine? Is it focused on what they are or not doing? Are you in a lack vibration? Are you feeling angry and feeling like this journey is not fair and everything is happening to everybody else and not to you? This journey is beyond the physical form. This is a spiritual connection. It is a dance of the one soul. And remember, you are a 3-part being. Yes, you have a body. Yes, you have a mind and ego. But who you truly are is soul. And you, divine feminine, well, this is a sacred journey back to self. Remember, the masculine is always responding to your energy and frequency. How do you dance through the journey, divine feminine? Well, your work is to alchemize. Your work is to sit in the 3 higher chakras, where the divine masculine is in the lower chakras. Their work is to take action in the 3D. So you're being asked right now, divine feminine, is where do you need to step into that sacred energy? Where do you need to connect in with that inner union frequency? Remember, inner union always happens before outer union. And there are shifts that happen on this journey. For anybody who is in separation right now, know that separation plays a key role to the journey. It is within separation that the masculine heals. It is within the separation that the masculine finds the light and the feminine works through those shadow aspects. So where do you, divine feminine, where are you stopping yourself from creating that sacred, sovereign self, from stepping fully into your inner union? Where are you not taking care of yourself? Where are you not prioritizing self? Where are you just playing along with life instead of stepping fully into that creative life force? Remember, that Kundalini activated. So you, divine feminine, could fully step into that beautiful life force energy. And it is through soul alignment that you really start to shine your light. Remember, it is always the light that attracts the masculine. So this time, in this full moon, you're being asked to unbecome. You're being asked to let go and shed things that are no longer vibrating in your higher frequency. So if you've been doing toxic things like chasing the masculine energetically, or looking the masculine up, or trying to figure out the journey and not bringing the journey back to self and going, what aligns me to my true soul's essence? What brings me joy? What feeds my soul? What sets my beautiful vibration within me on fire? If you're stepping into the toxic element instead of moving it into the sacred sovereign element, you're being asked to release, to let go, to dissipate, to go, enough is enough. I now set it free. I now let it go, and I step fully into inner union. If you need any more help and support in stepping into inner union, we've just started 30 days where I support you for the next 30 days in making those shifts into stepping in to the inner union with self. But I'll warn you, I will not allow you to sit in that toxic element of this journey. There is lots of toxic information out there that can keep you stuck in a lower vibration. My work is to let go of all that, to release it, and to do the true work. And the true work, divine feminine, is always in a union with self. From there, you can create outer union with the masculine. I send you so much love. All the information is on my website. And if you're wanting to start 30 days to inner union, you will find it all on my website. I send you much love, many blessings.
Are they called chakras or chakras? Doesn't really matter.
Still in your head.
Not in a cute, passing memory type of way. I mean, she's in there rent-free every damn day. You could be out with friends, at work, even trying to focus on bettering yourself. But boom, she shows up again. No text, no call, no recent memory, just her. It's almost like a whisper in your mind that never goes away. Now, before you go beating yourself up, thinking this is some kind of weakness, let me tell you what it really is. It's not her you're attached to. It's not even the relationship. What you're attached to is the version of you that existed when she was around. And until you face that, until you really get what this obsession is trying to teach you, you'll stay stuck. Not because of her, but because you're refusing to look in the mirror and ask the real question. What part of me died when she left? Point 1, bro. You don't miss her, you miss the feeling. Look, I gotta be real with you for a second. You keep saying you miss her, right? But I don't think that's the truth. I think what you really miss is the feeling. The feeling of being wanted, the excitement when your phone lit up and it was her. That little boost you got, like, damn, someone actually sees me. And I get it, man. That kind of feeling, it's rare. It makes you feel alive, like you've got a purpose again. But here's the thing. She didn't create that feeling. You did. She just unlocked a part of you that was already there. The part that believed in love again, that believed you were enough. So when she left, it felt like all of that went with her. But the truth is, she wasn't the magic. You were. You don't need her back. You need to reconnect with that version of yourself. The one who felt whole. The one who didn't second guess his worth every damn day. That's the guy you're really missing. So stop chasing her and start chasing him. Point 2. You keep replaying it cause you never got closure. Yo, let me ask you something. Why do you think your mind keeps hitting replay on the same moment over and over? That last conversation, the way she looked at you before it ended, that one message you never answered, or the one she never sent. It's not just memory, bro. It's an open loop your brain is trying to close. You're stuck in this loop because your story with her never really ended in your mind. There was no goodbye that made sense, no final scene where everything got tied up. So what happens? Your mind starts editing the past like it's a movie script. What if I'd said this? What if I'd fought harder? What if she still cares? And all those what ifs, they don't help you heal. They just trap you. Here's the hard truth. Closure isn't something she gives you. It's something you give yourself. You don't need her to explain why she left. You don't need the perfect ending. You just need to stop waiting for a version of the past that's never coming. Only then can you actually step into what's next. Point 3. She wasn't your missing piece. She was a mirror. Listen, man. I know it feels like she completed you. Like she filled in all the cracks and made life make sense for a while. But let me tell you something that might shift everything for you. She wasn't your missing piece. She was a mirror. Yeah, she didn't fix you. She just reflected a version of you that was already trying to come alive. The confident you, the passionate you, the hopeful, driven, open-hearted version of you. She brought that guy out, not because she gave it to you, but because something about her reminded you of who you always had the potential to be. That's why losing her hurt so much. Not because she was the one, but because when she left, it felt like that version of you left too. But here's the thing, he didn't. He's still there, man. You just stopped feeding him. You stopped choosing him. She may have sparked that growth, but it's your job now to keep it going. Because if you think she was the key to your wholeness, you're handing over your power to someone who isn't even here anymore. Take it back. Point 4. You're not in love. You're in love with the fantasy. Alright, bro, I gotta call this out. You're not stuck because of how she was. You're stuck because of how you're imagining her now. You're not in love with her. You're in love with the fantasy version of her your mind created after she left. You've built her up into this perfect, understanding, soft-spoken angel who never got mad, who always got you, who would have stayed if the timing was just right. But let's be honest, that's not reality, is it? The real her had flaws. There were arguments. There were things that didn't work. You didn't feel safe all the time. You didn't always feel seen. But your mind, it edits out all that mess. It puts a filter on the past like it's an Instagram post. And the longer you keep fantasizing about this dream girl, the harder it gets to connect with real life. No one you meet measures up. Nothing in the present feels enough, because everything's being compared to a version of her that never even existed. And I know why you're doing it. Fantasy is easier than pain. It's safer to hold on to the dream than to admit it's over. But if you don't let go of that illusion, man, you're gonna stay chasing someone who isn't even real, while life passes you by. Point 5. Obsession's just a disguise for avoidance. Bro, let's call this what it really is. You're not obsessed with her. You're avoiding yourself. Yeah, I said it. See, the mind's slick. It will have you convinced that replaying old convos, stalking her socials, overthinking every detail is just you processing. But it's not. It's your brain doing everything it can to avoid the real work. Because healing, growing, taking a hard look at who you were, what you allowed, and what you need to change, that's uncomfortable as hell. That's where the pain lives. So instead, you fixate on her. You make her the center of the story. Not because you still love her, but because it's easier than facing what you need to confront in yourself. Obsession becomes a distraction that feels like purpose, but it's really just fear in disguise. And until you realize that, you'll stay spinning your wheels, thinking you're being loyal, when really you're just stuck, scared to grow without her. Point 6. Life's moving on. With or without you. Listen, man. I know it feels like the world should pause while you figure all this out. Like time should give you a second to catch your breath, process, maybe even rewind a little. But it doesn't. Life doesn't slow down just because your heart's hurting. Opportunities aren't waiting around while you sit there wondering what she's doing or if she ever thinks about you. While you're stuck in your head replaying old memories, the world is moving on, fast. Other men are building, other people are healing, doors are opening, and they're closing too, and every day you stay frozen, hoping for some kind of closure or miracle, you're falling further behind the man you're supposed to become. I'm not saying don't feel it, I'm not saying forget it overnight, but I am saying this: life doesn't owe you anything just because you're in pain, and the longer you wait, the more you risk waking up one day and realizing you missed your shot, not because she left, but because you didn't move. And lastly, look, man, she came into your life for a reason, maybe to wake you up, maybe to shake you, but her chapter is over. Now it's about you, the version of you that doesn't chase ghosts, but builds something real. So stop looking back. Your future's not behind you.
When I first left university, I decided that I was going to go get a job in advertising because I thought that this was the only place that you could get paid to be creative. What a fool I was. Anyway, so I start working in advertising. I get my first ever ad job, right? And I'm working for this creative director. He's a real nice guy. He's taken me under his wing. He's a bit of a mentor, and he started to kind of put me on all the good jobs and help me move up through the advertising ranks, whatever the hell that means. 9 months into this job, I'm on the precipice of getting my dream job and the pay rise and everything, and it's all just looking so good. And I rock up to work that morning and I quit. Fast forward a year or two and I found myself back in advertising, this time at a different agency, and this time I was the creative director and I had a department of people working for me. It was awesome, man. I loved it. I was getting flown around the world, working for big brands, big clients, making awesome work. Once again, I get to the precipice of a pay rise, a status rise, all these things. They're just on my horizon and they're all about to come true. And once again, I rock up to work and quit. I could bore you with so many examples of this pattern. Every time I'm getting momentum with videos, I stop making them. Whenever I make progress at the gym, I find an excuse not to go for weeks. Countless jobs just seem to be going so well until I just choose not to rock up one day. It's called self-sabotage and it is on track to ruin my life, baby. And if you're watching this video, there's a small chance it might be on track to ruin yours as well. From everything that I've read and researched about self-sabotage, the answer doesn't seem to lie in ignoring these negative feelings. It's not about grinding or pushing past them or using your brute strength to, I don't know, punch them like they're a little baby. Instead, it's more about sitting with the negative feelings. And that's what this video is going to largely address, how to do that. But firstly, let's find out why we self-sabotage. Self-sabotage typically has its root cause in the self-worth that you developed when you were a child. And bear with me, because this is my dumb guy synthesis of what I've learned about this. Let's say in childhood you had a parent who ignored you. Maybe they were absent, maybe they left your family, or maybe they just worked too much and didn't really have time for you, or maybe they just weren't ready for kids, and so by ignoring you, they didn't have to accept that responsibility. For whatever reason, let's just say this parent ignored you. When you're a kid, your powers of rationing and reasoning aren't that great. Instead of saying, my parent ignored me because they were a bad parent, you say, my parent is a reasonable and just person and is acting reasonably and just. And so your conclusion is, my parent is ignoring me because I am somebody worth ignoring. You start developing this pattern that says, I'm worthless and anybody paying attention to me is just being nice. It goes without saying that this is just one tiny example in a sea of things that could have happened to you when you were a child. Let's say instead of being ignored by a parent, you were abused by a parent. Your childhood brain is going to ration and reason that you are somebody worth abusing. The bad part is what you're going to find is that these patterns show up throughout your life again and again and again. This is your brain's eagerness to know that it's right about its initial conclusion. Instead of realizing that you had an adverse childhood, it's far less energy and far easier to just try find yourself in those patterns to say, see, we are somebody worth ignoring and abusing. And that is a deeply vicious cycle. So therefore it makes sense for us to address these problems as soon as humanly possible. So let's say you're this kid who's been ignored or neglected and you start making it through life and you start to notice that maybe the world isn't as bad as this parent made it out to be, and you start getting like a little bit of success in your life. Maybe you develop a long-term relationship, maybe you get a degree, I don't know what it is, but things are starting to go your way. You know that you should feel happy about this, but something in your brain just doesn't, and you can't quite figure it out. What's happening is there's a conflict between who you are and who you believe you are. The core belief that you developed about yourself in childhood, I'm somebody worth ignoring, I'm not worthy of success, I'm somebody worth abusing, whatever it is in conflict with reality. The fact that people are now celebrating you, the fact that you've actually done some great things, the fact that you're probably a pretty fun person to hang out with. Come on, give yourself some credit. In reality, you're not worth ignoring or abusing or neglecting. Nobody is. But the core belief that you developed about yourself as a child begs to differ. And unfortunately, that core belief has a far stronger hold on you than you know. For reasons you can't understand, you begin to fail. It's not intentional, it just kind of starts to happen, almost insidiously. You start finding these excuses, just these little excuses that feel harmless on the surface, like, man, I don't really feel like going to work today, you know, just not really in the mood. Sometimes the excuses you make are a little bit more twisted and try to fool you a little bit more, and they take shape like, I know that I'm 90% of the way through this book, but I should really start a marketing degree so I know I can sell the book, right? That makes sense, right? We all know how that ends. You don't finish the book. In both of these examples, you are stifling your own success. And this, of course, as we've figured out by now, is because on some level you believe that you don't deserve success. Your subconscious is trying to protect the person that it thinks that you are. It believes that you are worthless, and so it's trying to conserve that and return you to that with its gravity that pulls you back down by making excuses. Otherwise, it has to come to grips with the fact that it might have been wrong about you its whole life. And that is earth-shattering. But unfortunately, to shatter our beliefs, we gotta shatter that world. We have to accept that most of what we know about this world is wrong, and most of what we learnt through a distorted lens. It'd be like if you'd only ever seen your reflection in one of those big, wobbly fun park mirrors your entire life. You'd go your whole life thinking that you had a big, wobbly head. Then when you finally see your reflection in a normal mirror, you're gonna start to think that that mirror is the fake mirror. This is how we end up with concepts like imposter syndrome. The sensation that people get when they don't feel like they deserve the success that they've truly created, and that people are somehow gonna find them out. Which is the same as somebody who's seen themselves in that fun park mirror thinking, oh God, people are gonna find out that I have a big wobbly head. You don't have a big wobbly head. You're fine. You're absolutely fine. It's okay. So the question on everybody's lips by this point in the video should be, how do I solve the damn thing? How do I stop self-sabotage? And the answer is, I don't know. Or rather, I don't really have a blanket answer that can apply to everybody. But I can tell you what I've done to try solve my own, and you can take the bits that you like and hopefully craft them into your own solution. All you'll need is a pen, paper, and a couple of hours of your time. You ready? Now let's go. 1. Recognize that the core beliefs about yourself are not facts. The wobbly head you in the fun park mirror is not truly you. I'm just going to list mine out, and bit of a content warning, these are going to get a bit heavy, but heck man, if you've come this far, you know we'll be fine by the end. In no order, the main negative core beliefs that I have about myself are: I deserve to be abandoned, rejected, and bullied. I'm a loser, and anything I make, I'll inevitably lose. Someone cruel will hurt me. I deserve to be preyed upon and sexually abused. I'm disgusting, ugly, and unlovable. Kinda messed up, but hey, by saying all that stuff, I am just that much closer to freedom. Now, when I look at this list, it is really, really cruel. I would never say this to anybody, and yet I say this to myself every day. I know rationally that none of these are true facts, but on some level, I believe them. So now it's time for step 2. Write out the opposite. So the opposite of my points are: I deserve to be joined, accepted, and celebrated. I'm a winner, and everything I make will eventually succeed. Somebody compassionate will help me. I didn't deserve to be preyed upon or sexually abused. Nobody does. I'm beautiful and lovable. And just as a warning, this step will feel corny as hell. Oh God, writing I am lovable. I know. But push past that. Just trust me. Push past it. Nobody's judging you. And if they are, just blame me. The bald tattooed man on the internet made me do it, Mum. Step 3. Find evidence for each fact and its opposite. So let's take I deserve to be rejected and its opposite, I deserve to be accepted. Now what we're gonna do is make 4 columns. In the first and third column, we'll write why I deserve to be rejected and why I deserve to be accepted. And then we're going to list our evidence. The evidence for why I deserve to be rejected is I don't tend to fit in with normal people, and they're going to figure out that I'm way weirder than I actually am, and because other people are more normal, likable, and palatable. In the why I deserve to be accepted column, things look a little bit more positive. It's going to be really hard for you to answer if you're quite deep in the sort of pattern of self-sabotage, but just keep asking your brain, why do I deserve whatever your thing is? And hopefully you can come up with some answers. I've got because weirdos need weirdos, and because I got a lot of love in my heart, and because I accept all people and acceptance is reciprocal. Basically, it's me finding my tribe and realizing that there's a lot more people out there like me. Then in the second and fourth column, I write the consequence that I'd bet money on. I like writing that I'd bet money on because it makes me think really rationally. Consequence of people finding out how weird I am is, honestly, if I had to bet money on it, it's probably acceptance. The world does love weirdos. The consequence of other people being more likable and palatable and more normal than me is very likely, but not a problem at all. On the positive side, the consequence of weirdos needing weirdos is other people who struggle with acceptance are hopefully getting helped when I articulate these things, which I'm hoping is you right now as you watch this. Fingers crossed. And as for the consequence of acceptance being reciprocal, well, that one just straight up leads to a better world. Step 4. Make an actionable final list of triggers, feelings, and actions. We're doing columns again. This is 3 columns. So this one has positive experience, negative feelings, and a third column that I'll come to later. When I fill out that list, it looks like this. When my fiance says she loves me, I feel like she loves a fake me. When I get too many compliments, I feel like I'm fooling people. When I get too many opportunities in my inbox, I feel like I'm gonna let people down and these opportunities will never come again. When I have a video go well, I feel like it's a fluke. When I make a decent amount of money, I feel like it's the last money I'll ever make. But now what we're gonna do is add a third column that's gonna hopefully help us interrupt these patterns. At the top of that column you write, but next time I will remind myself that the reality is, she really loves me. People are kind and we're connecting. I'm good at my job. People connected to what I had to say, and that's a gift. This has never been true. There is always more. The idea here is that self-sabotage can be triggered by positivity, and as positivity comes in, the negative thoughts are only going to get higher and higher and higher. It's going to feel like you're balancing chairs on top of each other, standing on the top, and it's only a matter of time before you fall. But what we're doing is recognizing and interrupting those thought patterns and realizing that that's just not the reality. This step is obviously ongoing. It's like showering, you've got to do it every day or every week if you're a hippie. The final step in this system, which once again isn't gospel, this is just what I've come up with for myself, is step 5. Treat yourself like you treat someone you love. If your friend was on a roll with their career, would you tell them to quit their job? If your partner came home after having a shitty day, would you remind them that they deserve it? If your child was doing well at school, would you tell them it was a fluke? No! You wouldn't. These are awful things to say to anybody, and yet we say them to ourselves every day. If you were somebody that you loved, you'd take yourself out to dinner, pump your body with sunshine instead of drugs, and forgive yourself for all your mistakes. In your notebook, as a final thought, write down some changes you want to make, and then more importantly, why you deserve them. And that's my list, those 5 steps. Anyway, I hope this all made sense. I hope you're enjoying it. Subscribe if you're new, leave a comment if this gave you some value, share it with a friend if you know a friend is struggling. And damn, have a gorgeous day. I really do mean that, by the way, I'm not just saying that. Gotcha.
So if I helped one person out with this video, I'd be happy. It's not the type of video I make, but I'm in my garage. I make things. I have a channel about making things. I did that because I needed a way to relax 3 years ago, and I kind of built this kind of what's called my hovel, a place I go to, and I just make stuff. But this video is about really my success story, and I don't want it to be long. So I'm not a medical practitioner. I'm not a doctor. This is just a personal success story, but I'm really kind of excited that I can make it, because if you were or are in where I was at, and I've been there twice in my life, you're anxious, you're depressed, you kind of just lost hope. I just first generally, there is another side to that. There's other end to that. And we live in a world that has amazing technology, and I'm really talking about both therapy people and some medicine. So I have had success with both Zoloft and Lexapro, and for different reasons. 10 years ago, I was going through some major stuff, and I'm not going to go into details in this video. And I literally had cycling thoughts, and I couldn't calm down. It led to depression. I finally took someone's advice, and I went to see a doctor, a psychiatrist, and I got a prescription for Zoloft. Didn't work. I didn't really have any side symptoms. I don't remember them. And after around 3.5 to 4 weeks, I started to feel normal, but didn't associate it with Zoloft. Finally, I completely came out of what I was dealing with. It was just sort of just rumination, random, excessive thoughts, couldn't calm down. And it led to just indifference and sadness. Depression is terrible because at least if you're sad, you're feeling something. But depression, you have nothing. And I recently, and I don't know if it's COVID, there's always a reason. There's a breakup, there's something, there's a loss. There's always a reason why you think you're sad or you're whatever, but you're designed to enjoy this beautiful world. You are designed to enjoy the people around you. You're not designed to have constant negative thoughts or constantly to have things and media and everything else. You are designed to live and enjoy this beautiful planet. Recently, I started with anxiousness and thoughts and news about all these things that have happened this year during COVID. And honestly, I'd like to say this was a COVID problem, but it wasn't. Every single winter I had during January and February, call it, sad seasonal depression disorder, I got sad. And it happened like clockwork every February, and I couldn't avoid it. Recently, I started taking a lot higher doses of vitamin D, and that's helped me the last 2 winters. So get your vitamin D checked. So, Lexapro. Now, I was worried about Lexapro. There's some side effects. There's some all types of things that you can just Google. I'm not going to go into it. I'd be happy to respond to you in comments. But total success. I was taking it for a year and nothing. And a friend of mine, I told him I was having trouble sleeping and I just woke up in the middle of the night and was constantly ruminating, thinking, trying to solve things. Not really motivated to do one particular thing, but just all over the place. Anxiousness, worrying about the future, anxiety, worrying about the future. Depression is sadness about the past. And he said, I've felt like that before, but ever since I take that medication, well, it turns out the medication he was referring to was the medication I was taking. I'm like, what is it not working? What I was doing was thinking I needed a little bit of the medication. I wasn't taking the prescribed dose. I was just biting it in half. Sometimes I wouldn't take it, sometimes I would. Sometimes I'd get a big chunk, sometimes I wouldn't. It just wasn't on a regular basis. And then I decided, what if I just tried it? You know, what else could I lose? We've lost so much this year. I realize I'm blessed and I understand what position you could possibly be in, but what if it worked? So I did some research and it turned out that it takes a while. So I decided to take the regular dose of the 10 milligrams. There's just the regular little pill, because I know you can take 30 and 20 and all these other ones. So 2 weeks, I still didn't feel worse. In fact, 2 weeks, I felt worse. And then right after that, I read an internet article of someone that said 3 weeks in, things were better. And so, in fact, right after that point, I started just to feel normal. In fact, I actually, this time, over Zoloft, I actually felt a little bit energized. I was more peaceful. I would just sit in a chair and just enjoy being there. I didn't have to do anything. I think the reason why people gain weight on this medication is that they feel normal. They just kind of want to enjoy the flavor of ice cream. They want to enjoy the flavor of those chips. You got to watch out for that. But that's certainly a good trade-off to me compared to depression and anxiety. So I'm not a medical practitioner, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not your dad, but here's what I want to share with you. The success story is I didn't wait long enough. I didn't take the prescribed amount. Now, just like Zoloft, maybe I have to go off it. Maybe this whole COVID thing will be behind us. I don't think anytime soon. I mean, we're lucky enough to have the vaccine here, but let alone everywhere else. But I know that you're struggling. I know that there's something that you're dealing with. You may not need anything. You may need to exercise. People that take medication definitely get a lot of value just going for a walk. This is an amazing world that we live in with podcasts and YouTube videos and other things else. But you gotta get to a baseline. You have to get to a point that you can help yourself. You can help yourself. And if you're not at that point, there's no sense of trying to read a good book, The Power of Now, or Understanding the Moment, or Living Life, or meditation, or whatever. Whatever. What you need to do is get your mind to a baseline where you feel good enough, and you need to know yourself well enough. If you take a medication and it has side effects, most likely those will diminish. They will go down. You are worth trying this out. You are worth experimenting and getting through this. So if you take medication, make sure you taper off. Make sure you listen to what your doctor is saying. But it is worth it. You have to stick with it. You have to take care of yourself. And you'll find out that the older you get, the more you need self-care. The more you need to, I'm not talking about going to a massage. I'm talking about just being peaceful. Letting yourself off the hook. Letting go of some of these worries and concerns you have. But you got to get to that point. And if you're depressed, that's a really tough place to be. And you got to get out of that. And sometimes exercise isn't enough. You got to get pulled out of that rut. And that's what helped me. And that's what I'm sharing here right now. And I feel so grateful to be able to share this with you, because I would have liked to have made a video when I was down and out this year. Yeah. I mean, go look at the videos that I released. You can tell when I was struggling. But the fact of the matter, and I know I'm blessed, I realize that, but the fact of the matter is I was deeply in a place I couldn't get out of without it. And it turned out that I needed to take the prescribed dose. You need to go see someone. You need to tell the person that you love to go see someone. Because I have no idea what will work for you. I'm telling you 2 success stories of 2 times that it's done it, and it's worked both times in my life. And if you need it, I'm sorry that if you have a thing against medications and stuff like this, I think there's something there that will get you to the baseline. If you find yourself too tired, or if it's not working, or over a period of years you're gaining or losing weight and you're not liking that, then readjust things. It's worth trying things different out. You are worth it. You are absolutely worth it. So anyways, I love you. I know this isn't the regular type of video I made. I needed to make this video for myself. I really hope if I could just help one person just understand and have hope. There's another side to things, and you have no idea what is in store for your life. So please hang in there. I love you. Take care. And really, really believe in yourself. Bye.
Are you listening to me? The wrong partner can absolutely ruin your life. And I've seen this time and time again with clients. They steal years of your time, the best years of your life potentially. You can feel trapped, you can lose your sense of self. It can totally derail all your hopes, your dreams, your wishes for the future, things that you wanted to accomplish. They can become like a dead weight that is just weighing you down, making you less of yourself, burdening you in every single possible way. You forget who you even were. It can threaten your growth. It can dim everything that makes you uniquely you. The wrong partner is absolutely the worst thing that can happen to you. If you are not selective with who you let into your space, who you choose to do life with, it can absolutely make you miserable. And I have seen this over and over and over. You do not want to be living your life filled with regrets because you got tied to the wrong person. You didn't feel resourced to be able to do anything about it. The wrong person absolutely sabotages the entire trajectory of your life. If you meet the wrong person at the wrong time in your life, all those ambitions and visions and things that you wanted for your life can be completely derailed. And that is in no way, shape or form an exaggeration. There needs to be more education on what they look out for in relational dynamics, to be able to understand toxic behaviours, see the signs, and also to be resourced to be able to deal with this and navigate and exit them situations safely, because too many people lose their whole trajectory of their lives. They end up stuck to people that they should never have been with in the first place. And the impact of that on their nervous system and on their mental health is shocking. And this is the thing, I have seen it over and over and over and over again. And it's a long recovery to come back to yourself. And it starts with the awareness of, why am I even with this person in the first place? Because the one thing that stands out to me so much is people intuitively know on some level, I shouldn't be with this person. And yet they ignore them signals. That can sometimes be down to trauma, it can sometimes be down to their nervous system. But on a level, we know that we shouldn't be with this person. And you have to take ownership of the fact that when I choose to be with the wrong person because I'm afraid I don't want to be on my own, I'm worried about what other people think, or I've got a scarcity mindset around dating or whatever it is, or I'm just afraid they leave for whatever reason, what I'm not changing, I'm choosing. And that can cost me the best years of my life. It can cost you your happiness, your career, your future safety. There's so many things that it can cost you, but you have to recognize, like, you should never ever stay with somebody that you know is wrong for you.
Hi everyone, it's Kamil here. In this video I'd like to tell you how to deal with unwanted thoughts. So the first thing to realize is that our brains are designed to produce thoughts, and we have very little control over the thoughts. Well, through meditation and some other exercises we can learn how to control our brain, our thoughts a little bit more, so be calm, have fewer thoughts than normally. It's all possible. However, it's absolutely uncontrollable completely, and there always will be certain thoughts. So it happens that very often we have thoughts that we don't really want. They're really terrible. Either we do something bad or we do something disgusting, and those thoughts keep coming to us and we just don't want them, and we feel really bad about this. So how do we deal with that? It's very simple. The more you resist, the more you fight with those thoughts and say no, 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 the more you engage with them. And the more you engage with them, the more your brain engages with them and produces more of them. So simply, do not judge those thoughts. These are just thoughts. Everybody has thoughts, and it's only your judgment that these are really bad thoughts and you don't want them. So simply ignore them. Do not engage with them. Just accept them as they are. Okay, I have this really now unwanted thought. I don't really want it, but you know, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with having thoughts. I'm a human being. Okay, I'm just not gonna entertain that thought, as some people say. I will not engage in the thought. And the more you do it, the less often those thoughts will come back to you. So simply ignore them. You know, accept them, that they are there. They will be there. They will come back every now and then, probably till the end of your life. I don't know, maybe yes, maybe no. Just do not engage in those thoughts. Yeah, do not say, no, I don't want them, do not judge them, nothing, no engagement whatsoever. There is a thought, oh, there's a thought, okay, cool. Oh, there's another one, I like this one, but, you know, I'll let it flow as well. So, you know, any strategies that you might want to have, okay, if I think of, if something bad comes to my mind, I will engage in some other nice thoughts. Well, by you purposefully engaging to fight this off, you would be still thinking about this bad thought. But what you need to do is just disengage from any thoughts. And just, if you want to engage in other thoughts, not because you don't want to think about this, but it's because you just want to be engaged in nice thoughts. So think of something, a few nice things, something that you like, maybe, you know, holidays or your friend or family member, whoever. And whenever you have a thought that you don't want to have, just say, okay, thank you. I'd rather focus on something nicer, something beautiful, something that's right, bright, and that's it. So I know that this was helpful, because otherwise you wouldn't be watching this if you didn't need that. So go and practice not engaging in your thoughts, obviously, yeah? So practice, that's a bad word, but because by practicing that, it engages you into that, but you know what I'm talking about, yeah? So
I do not know, this guy is full of shit.
Ignoring of your unwanted thoughts. Thank you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. How to love yourself in 1, 2, 3 steps. The journey to self-love is not linear. It is a lifelong journey. Keep something in mind. We exist in a world where we're kind of discouraged from loving ourselves. Our economy thrives on feeling like we're not good enough. We won't buy all the things that are being sold to us if we felt self-love, because self-love makes you feel content. You don't really need all these outside things to make yourself feel complete and whole. Having self-love is actually a really powerful force. A lot of people are afraid that someone who really has that self-love, there's almost this feeling of they're kind of dangerous. They're not going to submit to my manipulation. They will produce results in their lives that are threatening. You're not alone if you're struggling with self-love. A lot of people walk around with a lot of self-hatred, and everything that we do is a way for us to avoid ourselves or to push down that feeling of self-hatred. Overeating, drugs, sex, television, video games, social media, being on our phones constantly. It's a way for us to run away from ourselves and from this feeling of lack that we feel. Not always, obviously. These things can all be enjoyed. That's the beauty of the world that we live in, of life. There's so many things that we can play with. But if we are approaching everything that we're approaching from a state of lack and self-hatred, then we're abusing life, and we will be or feel like we're being abused by life. So if you're feeling like you have no idea how to even begin to love yourself, if you feel like it's an impossibility to love yourself, believe me, it's not. As somebody who used to loathe myself, if I can do it, you can do it. It didn't come overnight. Nothing worthwhile is easily won. You must do the work. Know that it's completely in your hands to make the changes that you want to make in your life. It requires that you take responsibility for yourself and for your life. Don't be a victim and blame others. You are the one who allows the outside words and influence to come in or not. If you're just moving by default, it's very easy to just be influenced by everything without really feeling like you have any control. But you are ultimately the one who is in control, and it just takes that desire and willingness to take control. 3 steps to begin to love yourself. Number 1, begin a positive dialogue with yourself. There is already probably a really negative conversation that goes on within you that is subconscious, that is wired and programmed in you. It is definitely a challenge. I'm not gonna lie, to start to break that. As you begin to break it, and as you begin to look within and ask questions and try to change the inner dialogue, a lot of times you'll be met with all of the dark stuff and all of the negative conversations and words and stories, they're gonna start to bubble up to the surface. You must be strong and continue. They're gonna pull you in and you're gonna go back to your negative patterns. Expect that. But you have to continue to bring your mind and your awareness back to the conversation that you want to have with yourself. I'm 100% a believer of affirmations. They don't feel like they work initially, but they do work. It's just about continuing saying them. At first you might not believe them, and so you have to maneuver, because just repeating an affirmation that you do not believe can actually spiral you in the opposite direction. So you have to choose the right words that are believable. If there's a part of yourself that you really don't like, say physically you don't like, you know, your nose or something, but you really like your smile, begin with the smile. I love my smile. Okay, that feels good. And then you might say, I love my nose. And you're like, no, I hate my nose. Okay, move on from that one, because that one's not gonna work. So you begin to offer soft words, ones that are believable, and they will begin to multiply and grow. Everything that you put your attention on will build momentum. Asking yourself, what do you need today? What is the most self-loving thing I can do for you today? Or even just thanking your body for everything it does for you. I just thank my body for everything that it does for me. Thank all my organs and my cells and my joints and my limbs and my senses and my brain and everything. Like, you start to list all these things that function so well without you having to lift a finger. It's a beautiful thing. Begin to just talk to yourself. Thank you body for everything you do for me. And if you're having reactions to situations, ask yourself, like, what is it that you need right now? What is it that's causing this reaction? And then listen. And you might not get the answer, but you're beginning the conversation. Eventually the answers will come. Step number 2, let yourself off the hook. We're so hard on ourselves. We are raised to believe that if we're not hard on ourselves, if we don't abuse ourselves with blame, judgment, criticism, putting ourselves down, guilt is a big one. We feel guilty, and that's a way in which we punish ourselves and think that if we didn't feel these things, then we wouldn't change. But that's not true. Actually, we end up acting out when we're being so judgmental and critical of ourselves. We feel damaged and wounded, and so we act out. If you let yourself off the hook, you know what? This time I'm gonna forgive myself for saying that thing or doing that thing that was embarrassing or not doing that thing that I should have done. I'm letting myself off the hook. Take a vacation. Inside, you'll just soften, and then you're more likely to then have these positive affirmations that you're in, this positive dialogue of step 1 start to kind of take root a little bit more. If you're feeling guilty and blameful and shameful, you're not gonna let in any of that good stuff. Just give yourself a break. You're doing your best. This is a really good affirmation. I'm doing the best I can. And number 3, allow yourself to be as you are. Stop constantly trying to change yourself. We feel like, I gotta fix myself. I am damaged. I am not good enough. I have to fix myself. Letting go and just allowing yourself to be as you are. Imperfect, in pain, not liking yourself, feeling hurt, feeling judgment, jealousy. All of the things that we see as really negative things about ourselves that we try to push down, the more we try to repress them, the more they're gonna come up and try to nudge us back into feeling them. Love lets everything be. Love doesn't push anything away. Love is not afraid of anything. If you meet all of these painful, dark aspects of yourself from a place of love, from a place of just holding the container for them to be there, not pushing them away and just being like, let me see what I can give rather than trying to push it away. How can I be here and allow for this to be here? And you'd be amazed at how quickly these things actually start to dissolve. Allowing for an emotion that is negative and painful to surface and just allowing it to be there. Maybe try not to go for the food or for the alcohol or for the drugs or for the TV or for whatever it is that you notice you're wanting to engage in order to make these feelings push them down. Maybe don't engage in them and then just be with them. It's uncomfortable, but it's a feeling. Your feelings cannot hurt you. They won't kill you. You will only become stronger by allowing them to be there. The relief that you feel from that, I promise you, is worth every single penny in the world, and it feels better than anything you can engage in. Remember that love starts within. You cannot find love outside of yourself. You cannot even receive love outside of yourself if you don't let yourself receive love from you. It starts with you. You have the power. It's in your hands. Take that wheel. I hope this helps you. I'll talk to you soon.
Instead of getting down on yourself for procrastinating and trying to resolve it by ramping up discipline and ramping up motivation, it's best to begin by understanding why the brain had to use procrastination to protect the child. Now, I want to just lay out how I want to approach this topic, because many, when they approach this topic, I think approach it in ways that really don't work well for people with complex trauma. So many approach procrastination and just see it as a character flaw that they need to overcome. So what tools do I need to just get over this character flaw? And they're judging themselves. They're seeing it very negatively as a bad thing. And so they go to many therapists and self-help books, and the approach that is used often doesn't work with people from complex trauma. It gives a lot of helpful advice, but it doesn't produce lasting change for people from complex trauma because it doesn't get to the crux of the matter. So the focus is becoming motivated, getting organized, accountability, having a to-do list, increasing your self-discipline, rallying support for you, how to make good decisions, think positively. So it's really focused on that area of changing behaviors. And that usually doesn't work. And so it's really important, I think, to deal with this correctly, is to understand that the brain actually developed the strategy of procrastination to protect a little child. It was their only tool available to protect this child from getting hurt. And so if you look at it as initially being not a flaw, but a thing that the brain was doing to try to protect the child. So instead of getting down on yourself for procrastinating and trying to resolve it by ramping up discipline and ramping up motivation, it's best to begin by understanding why the brain had to use procrastination to protect the child. We really have to deal with it on two levels. You got to deal with practical stuff in the here and now, but you got to deal with that wounded child. Why did that brain develop procrastination as a way to protect that child? But before we get to that, let me start with two important things that you need to make a distinction between. Most only see procrastination in negative light as something that is unhealthy. But I think there's actually two times in our life when procrastination presents itself as actually something healthy, something we need to pay attention to. So, number one, if you are exhausted, if you've been pushing yourself too hard, if you have not been doing proper self-care, meeting your 12 needs in a healthy way, you're going to be burning yourself out. So now when you have a new responsibility, your brain is going to go, I can't do this. I don't have the energy to do this. I want to procrastinate. It is trying to send you a warning sign. It is trying to tell you you're overwhelmed, you're exhausted, you need to rest. You don't need to be thinking about more responsibilities. You need to be thinking about healthy self-care. And so, if you're finding yourself wanting to procrastinate again, ask yourself, is this an unhealthy thing where I'm sliding into old behaviors for the wrong reasons, or Is this actually my body sending me a healthy message saying you're exhausted, you need self-care? Second thing is that most of us, when we are faced with a new responsibility, sometimes it would be very unhealthy to just take on that responsibility right away without having thought it through carefully. We need to be able to give ourselves time, especially if it's a big responsibility, to go, okay, what steps would be involved to accomplish this? What resources would that require? Will I need to involve others? Do I have the time and the strength right now to do all of this stuff? Those are so important questions. So the danger for so many people who've been procrastinating is to think, okay, I just got to start a task right away, but they haven't thought it through. They get into the task, they realize, uh-oh, this is too much, I don't have the time or the energy, and then they quit. Then they beat themselves up for quitting. And so there's a healthy planning stage in most important decisions. That isn't procrastination. That's actually taking the necessary time to plan carefully. So let's look at dealing with the wounds from the past and the deep fears that those wounds have created as one aspect of healing procrastination. So think back, first of all, to your earliest memory you have of when you procrastinated. If you're able to connect to that memory, ask yourself what you were feeling as a child at that time, why your brain felt it needed to procrastinate. And usually you're going to find there was some fear. So find out what that fear was about. Was it a fear of punishment? Was it a fear of failure? Was it a fear of being rejected, laughed at? Look at what that fear was. What you can also do when you're there in that memory is just ask, are there any body sensations that I'm experiencing right now that might accompany that memory? Often people will feel something in their gut or their throat or their chest area. They'll have trouble breathing. They'll feel kind of an increase of heat in their face. Check out body sensations. Then go to, okay, what did that little child need at that time to help them face that fear? Did they just need encouragement? Did they need somebody to teach them? Did they need somebody to show them how to do it? Did they need to be able to do something and fail and not get criticized? What did that child need? Then comfort that child, assure that child, but then go, probably that's the fear I'm facing today. So get into your cortex and go, okay, what do I need to give myself today? Maybe I need to learn some tools here that I don't have. Maybe I need encouragement from somebody else. Maybe I need support from somebody else. Figure out, what do I need today? And there's no shame in that. There's no judgment in that. You are trying to give to yourself now the things that weren't given to you as a child. Now, you may initially need a mentor or a therapist to help you go through this process of understanding why procrastination was developed by your brain as a child to protect you, and to help you begin to know how to help that little child, which means helping yourself today. So don't be afraid to ask for a therapist or a mentor to help you with this. Let me go to practical tools for today. So you've brought healing to the little child, but now you got the bad habit to deal with. You've got to overcome the inertia of years of doing it this way. What are some practical things you can do to help yourself break this procrastination behavior? Here's some of the things that help me. Break a big task down into little tasks. So if I got to get this big task done, that just feels overwhelming. So break it down into 50 little steps. I could do this today, that tomorrow, and over the period of a week, I'm going to get the task done. So break big tasks down into little tasks. Don't be afraid to reward yourself. If I accomplish this, then I am going to reward myself with something I really like. That's what we do for a child. If you do this, I'll take you out for ice cream. Rewards are okay. Our limbic brain still needs those along the way. And then don't necessarily just wait to the end or the completion of the project to give yourself a reward. It's okay to give yourself rewards along the way. Oh, I got these steps done. Let's have a reward. So we need that positive encouragement of rewards. And that doesn't mean I'm weak. That doesn't mean I'm a failure. That's just how we work, and it's okay to do it. Some people, what they have to do is begin to learn to do the thing I least want to do first. So I'm not going to put it off and do more enjoyable tasks first and then never get around to that. I need to get what I least want to do done right off. Second, some people, if they're going to say, okay, I'm going to start this job, they need like a 10-minute, we call it 10-minute technique to warm up to the job, where they do little activities. They do some yoga, they listen to some music, they get themselves into a good headspace. And so allow yourself, if you need it, a 10-minute, 15-minute window to kind of get yourself into the mood. Some people, they need to change their environment. So I need to write this letter. I need to get this project done. I can't do it sitting in my office or sitting in my living room. I need to find a different place and change it up, and that often helps them get started. Another thing that people can do is to say, I am not going to start this task and stick at it for 3 hours until it's done. That's just too much for me. I'm going to break it into 30-minute windows, 30-minute blocks, and then it will be done, but I'm not going to overwhelm myself with the whole project. Some people find it helpful to just put it on the calendar. I am going to start this job at this time. Then they make themselves accountable to a friend, but having it, that start time on the calendar is so important for them. Another thing is I have asked myself, when am I most motivated to do hard work? And that's usually for me, and it's going to be different for everybody, but it's the earlier in the morning, the better. And often it's a certain day of the week or on the weekend when I am just kind of in my prime energy place. Okay, let's do the hardest jobs in my prime energy place. So learn that about yourself. Another thing that's so helpful for many people is to make to-do lists. But it's kind of to lists. What do I need to get done over the week? So what are my weekly responsibilities? How much free time do I have? And then based on that, I make a daily list. Okay, here's what I got done today. Here's where I can fit in this extra job. So those lists are very helpful for people. Another thing that can be so helpful is do it with a friend. If you're just finding it impossible to get motivated to do it on your own, ask a friend, would you come over and just help me as I do this project? Just be with me as I do this project. That can often provide some great motivation. Another thing, be accountable. Tell your friend, I'm going to be doing this job today. Check in with me tomorrow just to make sure I've done it. And that just provides a little bit of extra motivation. Play the tape to the end. Just get out of that limbic brain, which is procrastination, is I want to avoid. This is too much. I'm feeling stressed, overwhelmed. Get back to your cortex and go, if I don't do this, here's the consequences. If I force myself somehow, find a way to do it, I am going to be so thankful. It's going to be such a relief of stress. It's going to be way better feeling than instant gratification now beating myself up later. So you have to learn what works for you. And so it's going to take some time to figure out kind of what helps me get jobs done properly. There's always going to be an element of, I got to get out of my limbic brain, get into my cortex, do this, even though I don't enjoy it, don't feel like it, but it's got to be done. And I'm going to do it anyways, regardless of what my limbic brain says. So I hope that helps you with procrastination stuff. So many of you struggle, you beat yourself up. Start with healing that wounded child, understanding why that child procrastinated. Deal with that and then learn some of the practical tools.
Befindest du dich etwa stets entweder im Flight- oder im Fight-Modus, also im Kampf- oder im Fluchtmodus? Das bedeutet ganz klar, dass dein Nervensystem und dein Körper etwas Regulation, etwas Regulierung brauchen, also deine Hilfe brauchen. Und dazu habe ich dir jetzt heute 4 einfache, praktische Tools mitgebracht. Warum einfach und praktisch? Weil uns die
If you've watched our video on the 7 signs of attachment trauma, not love, and found yourself recognizing some of those patterns in your life, you're not alone. It's a big deal to acknowledge those deep emotional wounds from the past, but what's next? Healing from attachment trauma can feel like trying to climb a slippery slope. You might ask yourself, where do I even begin? But here's the truth. Attachment wounds don't have to define your future. Healing is possible. Let's dive deeper into how. Stop trying to fix your attachment style. The first instinct when we identify attachment trauma is often to change our attachment style. But what if I told you that this need for fixing is actually keeping you stuck? A lot of people want quick fixes that'll make all their problems disappear overnight, but healing takes time and patience. The key to healing isn't trying to become a different person, but embracing your tendencies with compassion and understanding. Recognize how your attachment style has served you or protected you in the past. For example, an anxious attachment style might have helped you stay hypervigilant to emotional cues, keeping you from being blindsided by rejection, or worse. An avoidant style could have protected you from feeling too vulnerable or overwhelmed by others' needs. A fearful avoidant style might have helped you guard against deep emotional pain by pushing others away when things felt too overwhelming, even though it may have led to internal conflict. Once you stop fighting your attachment style, you start to disarm it. Acceptance of your patterns allows you to gain more control over them. Rather than trying to erase your trauma, you can begin to understand and redirect it into something that serves you better. Which leads us to our next point. Reparent your inner child. You may have heard the phrase reparent yourself, but most interpretations of this idea focus on reteaching yourself the love and care you didn't get growing up. And while this is important, it's not the full picture. Reparenting isn't just about nurturing your inner child, it's about reshaping how you perceive what it means to be parented. Instead of constantly seeking that perfect parental love from others, whether partners, friends, or mentors, recognize that your capacity to provide unconditional love, patience, and acceptance to yourself is where true healing lies. Not in fixing the past, but reworking your present-day relationship with yourself. Ask yourself, what did I need to hear as a child that I never did? Maybe it was positive encouragement. So every morning, take 2 minutes to write down one kind thing you'll tell your inner child today. For example, you're worthy, even when you're not productive. Over time, these new positive beliefs will take root. Get out of your head and into your body. Speaking of healing your inner child, we often think of healing trauma as a deeply intellectual or therapeutic process, but sometimes the body needs to feel safe before the mind can catch up. The most surprising tool for healing attachment trauma? Play. Yeah, play. The freedom to be spontaneous and creative and lighthearted can break through the rigidity and fear that attachment trauma creates. And think about it. When was the last time you allowed yourself to be silly, to laugh without worry, or to move your body in a carefree way? Healing attachment trauma means learning how to release stored trauma through embodied experiences. whether that's through dance, physical activity, or creative expression. These moments of joy and play rewire the nervous system, helping you feel more at ease in your body and less defensive in relationships. Learn to sit with your discomfort. Attachment trauma often comes with overwhelming emotions, whether it's anxiety, anger, or sadness. But emotions are like waves. They can feel overwhelming, but they always pass. You don't have to react to every emotion right away. Practice mindfulness, grounding techniques, or deep breathing exercises. These are simple, yet powerful tools that can help you manage emotional distress. By learning to pause, breathe, and check in with yourself, you create space for healthier responses instead of the knee-jerk reactions that often come from trauma. Remember to be honest and gentle with yourself as you try to uncover the root of your attachment trauma. Try this exercise. Write a letter to yourself as if you were writing it to a friend. What would you say to comfort them? What kind words would you offer? And then read it back to yourself. The sacred pause. Triggers are often seen as something to avoid or manage, but here's the twist. Your triggers are your greatest teachers. Rather than seeing emotional triggers as barriers to healing, what if we saw them as invitations to go deeper? When you're triggered by something in your environment or relationships, don't just react. Instead, use the trigger as a moment to pause, step back, and ask yourself, what old wound is being touched here? What part of me feels unsafe or unworthy? These triggers are like alarms, alerting you to where you need to heal next. Instead of running from them, turn towards them. They hold the key to uncovering what still needs attention. Create new experiences of trust. A lot of people with attachment trauma try to heal by withdrawing into themselves, thinking, I need to work through this alone before I can connect with others. But you can't heal in isolation. You need to reconnect, build healthier attachments, and create new experiences of trust. If attachment trauma makes you expect betrayal, trust can feel impossible. But trust isn't something you leap into. It's something you build, brick by brick. This means allowing yourself to be seen in your mess, without the shame or judgment that you're too much or not enough. Healing is about showing up as your authentic self in the presence of others. Start small. Trust someone with a little vulnerability, like sharing a fear or asking for help, and notice how they respond. Over time, those moments add up. Also, reflect on a time someone showed up for you. Write it down and remind yourself that not everyone will hurt you. When someone responds with kindness, empathy, or understanding, it rewrites the story that everyone will let me down. Healing attachment trauma isn't about rushing to the finish line or waking up one day and feeling fixed. It's about progress, not perfection. Some days will feel easier than others. Some days it'll feel like you're back at square one, and that's okay. Healing is messy, non-linear, and beautifully human. If no one's told you today, you're doing a great job. Keep going. So, what step resonated with you the most? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you found this video valuable, please like and share to spread awareness. Subscribe to our channel for more insightful content like 4 types of trauma and how it impacts your relationship, and how childhood trauma shapes your personality. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you soon.
Emotional detachment is often misunderstood. People assume it's a sign of indifference.
In today's video, we're going to talk about what I believe is one of the most powerful methods for fundamental life change and real transformation, and that is inner child healing. And I think it could be incredibly valuable for just about everybody, even if you feel like, you know, I had a pretty good childhood, I don't really think things went that wrong. You might still have one of these inner child wounds that is running you behind the scenes that you don't even actually know exists. So today we're going to talk about what the inner child is, where it comes from, what it does, and how it interacts with us in our life, and most importantly, how we can heal in a way that has profound implications for our personal future and can be very transformative to the way we live our lives. So, what is inner child healing in the first place? Sometimes it's called inner child work. It is a form of what is sometimes called shadow work, which is essentially work on your subconscious mind. The subconscious is the part of the mind that does things that we don't have to think about, like knowing how to walk or talk or understand somebody who's speaking. When we don't have something ingrained into our subconscious, when we're learning a language, for example, it can be very challenging because we have to consciously think about what the meaning of each word is and try to interpret it and understand it, and that's very difficult. But once it becomes subconscious, it is automated. Your brain does the work for you without you having to think about it. That is the power of the subconscious mind. But what can happen is if we are not careful, we can ingrain patterns into our subconscious mind that then run on that autopilot and are operating in the background that no longer serve our best interests. Some of the things that sometimes hold us back in life can actually be these subconscious patterns that we believe are true, or we've integrated this behavior and these actions so deeply into ourselves that they are like walking or talking. They're automatic to the point where we don't think about them anymore, but they have a profound impact on how we interact with the world, how we see the world, and what we do on a daily basis. Because here's the thing, right? Our subconscious doesn't know if something is good or bad. It just gets a program and it runs it. It's essentially like a computer. It does a great job at just keeping those things running. But there can be problems with that. Let's say as a child, you maybe had to be a peacekeeper between your parents, right? They argued a lot and it was your job to kind of make sure everybody in the family was happy. Or maybe you felt betrayed by your parents and decided you had to take care of yourself, that you couldn't trust anybody. Or maybe you felt that you only got love and validation, you got your needs met when you performed a certain way, when you were perfect or didn't have any problems of your own. You were able to take care of other people. That's when you got the love and affection you wanted from your parents, right? What can happen is, as children, we form these subconscious belief systems. We think that as long as I take care of other people, as long as I give them what they need, then they'll take care of me. Then they'll love me back, and then I get to feel okay about myself. These are experiences that a lot of people have as children that they internalize into that subconscious mind. This program is now running on autopilot behind the scenes in so many lives. It doesn't have to be just those things, those are just examples. There are many ways where these kind of insidious patterns we formed as children as coping strategies become a pattern that we repeat over and over and over through our adult lives, not really noticing. And then people will find themselves now as an adult desperately craving that validation, trying to be perfect so that everybody loves them in the world, and being confused when they don't get the love or adoration they need. Or maybe they're petrified to take any action because they think they need to be perfect for people to approve of them. Or maybe they have trust issues in relationships and push people away and kind of act a little bit cold because they have that wound that says if I let anybody get close to me, then they'll hurt me. These are the adult expressions of those inner child wounds we have formed that are unhealed. They are still influencing our behavior 10, 20, 30 or more years after the event itself happened, because we have not gone in and questioned those behavior patterns that we've inscribed into that subconscious mind. And it also doesn't always matter how bad things that happen to you were. It's not really about that you had to have some terrible, terrible childhood to form these childhood wounds, because the experiences we have as children
are filtered through a very immature mindset. So don't judge yourself if you feel like you have some of these things and you're like, man, nothing that bad really happened to me. Realize that it is judged through the perspective of a very immature child. So everything can feel traumatizing and scary to a 3-year-old. We have a very warped perspective of reality, and we are just little kids trying to do the very best we can to understand the world. So we decide things like, well, mom and dad like it when I'm perfect, so I'll just be perfect. Great. And we don't realize how twisted and terrible that can be when taken to an extent until we're 30, 40 years old and crippled by perfectionism. We're afraid to let anybody see us be less than perfect. And we don't realize that it is just an expression of that internalized pattern from when we were like 4 years old that has been built on for years and years and years. Those patterns, once they are inscribed into that subconscious mind, we just start to repeat them over and over. We think that's something that is true to the way we need to be in the world to get our needs met. That is not necessarily true. These inner child wounds we want to heal are essentially the subconscious echoes, kind of these patterns that we have ingrained into ourselves as the result of trauma, or maybe the story we came up with as a result to trauma, that influence our lives now, maybe decades afterwards, because we have not gone back and healed and given new meaning to those past experiences. We've allowed those moments to replay in our heads over and over and over. And until we go back and examine them, we will never understand why we're doing some of the weird things we do, or why we feel anxiety or fear or jealousy in situations that objectively don't make that much sense. If you've ever noticed that about yourself, you're like, why did I get so angry about that? Why did that make me feel so insecure? It wasn't really that big of a deal. It's because it triggers that internal child wound where everything feels so big and scary and real, and it hits that core fear of like being worthless or abandoned, and your body goes, oh. That's why. A lot of people develop pretty twisted coping strategies, like, you know, trying to be perfect, or please everybody in the world, or never show any flaws, or never connect with anybody so that they don't risk getting hurt. And those things that help us get through those traumatic periods in our childhood don't necessarily translate very well to real life. And having healthy relationships as adults in particular can be very damaging to have these kinds of childhood patterns running, because they affect the way you can bond emotionally with other people. Whether you're going to be super needy or super avoidant is frequently a function of these kinds of internal child wounds that are running on autopilot. And these wounds tend to form around feelings or fears of insecurity, unworthiness, unlovableness, the feeling of not being whole or being less than everybody else. These things that are abandonment, maybe, these things are intrinsically terrifying when you were a child, because you are completely dependent on your primary caregivers for everything, right? You have no ability to really cope with anything in the world. You need this person to give you pretty much everything. And so any insecurity in that relationship, any fear or threat to that pipeline of your needs being met is intrinsically terrifying to a child. And that is the kind of emotional trigger which is set with these patterns. It's a very visceral, like, we'll die if this doesn't go our way kind of thing, which explains why later in life, like, you get broken up within a relationship and it feels like you're gonna die. It's not rational anymore because you can now take care of yourself, but it's hitting that same trigger, and that's why it can feel so earth-shattering. It's because it's hitting those childhood patterns. In my own life, that fear of never being good enough or never being enough led to paralysis when it came to anything challenging. I loved, like, school, I was getting good grades, college, all of that was great as long as I was sure that I would get like a 4.0 or I would get the perfect grade. Then I could maintain that image of perfection, be like, you know, I'm always the one doing everything right, I'm getting all the good grades. But whenever there was an area of ambiguity or, like, you know, multiple right answers, it wasn't so clear what to do, I would freeze, because I was like, I had to do the right thing to function in the world. And when there was not a clear right answer, it was like existentially terrifying. I would also experience attracting people into my life who were kind of emotionally unavailable and then trying to fix them. I think on some twisted level, I thought that, you know, like if I could fix them, then they would never leave me, because that inner unworthiness thing was like, you need somebody who's gonna stick around, right? You can't show them who you really are or they'll leave you. So by fixing people, I could get them to stick around forever, because then they'd need me. It's kind of fucked up, really, but it's one of those methods that twisted, terrified inner child can say, you know what, I'm gonna die if this stuff doesn't go right. I need to make sure it works a certain way. It's very unrealistic perhaps, but it doesn't make it feel less intense in the moment. And this is a huge component of why there are so many dysfunctional relationships going around. It's because people are trying to live out those childhood patterns over and over and over through relationships. That inner child is still in there on repeat, looking for somebody out in the world who's gonna fix them, who's gonna solve their problems and meet their needs. But it's not mom and dad anymore, right? So they're kind of projecting themselves through your current day self as you go through and repeat the same patterns. You're still looking for somebody to come save you. And here's the thing. Nobody is going to come save you. There's nobody who's gonna come fix you. There's nobody who's gonna come solve all those problems and make you feel whole inside. Never going to happen. But there's great news. You can be that one person that you are looking for to fix you. Nobody else can. Turn that energy inward and realize you have the capability to save yourself. So, how do you do that? You need to go back and heal the wound yourself. And the very first step to this process is simply awareness. Becoming aware of these patterns and behaviors that we are running on autopilot. Because until we know they're there, how are we supposed to change them, right? Like, how do you fix a problem that you cannot see? So something you can do right off the bat is whenever you feel triggered or whenever you notice yourself having a disproportionate reaction, maybe you get really angry or jealous or sad about something that was not objectively that big of a deal, take a second to notice that happening and then pull your perspective back just for a split second and ask, where is this coming from? Why am I doing this? Is this helpful at all? And you realize, probably not. And then you go, well, why is this a part of me? Like, where does this come from? Where does the voice of that inner critic come from? That you're not good enough, you suck, well, what are you doing there? You're not good enough for that person. Oh, you could never do that, don't try. Where do those feelings of shame and unworthiness come from? Where does that guilt and hatred and anger come from within you? So step one is simply to start noticing, to become aware of those patterns that are running under your normal perception that you normally don't see. Just start to notice when you do things and say, why did I do that? Just be curious, just have a little bit of fun with it. It's kind of weird, but just go with it for a while. That is step one. You can do that passively throughout your day-to-day life. Really easy. You don't even have to put very much effort into it. Just notice it. Be like, oh, curious. Secondly, there are active steps you can take, and these don't have to be like chronological, by the way. You don't have to do the awareness thing first. You can do them both at the same time. This involves diving deep into your past and engaging in a dialogue with yourself. You can do this via journaling or meditation or just visualization and imagining. It's important to remember that this is not the process about like finding somebody to blame. It's not about saying everything that happened to you is your parents' fault. It's not about looking at your childhood for excuses as to why your life's not where you want to be. This is about going back and healing the wounds that are repeating on autopilot. It's about healing that past, not finding more reasons to get stuck in it. So try to go in with an open mind and not an attitude of anger or blame. If those things come up a little bit, it's okay, but just do your best to release them and realize that it's not about attaching more to the past, it's about letting go of it. So try to have that as your frame of reference. Give yourself some time and space to just experience this and sit with it. I'd say maybe half an hour. Probably want to do it in your room or someplace where you won't be interrupted. The first time I did it, I thought it was a little weird. I thought it was a little out there. I didn't know what to expect, and I ended up like bawling my eyes out for like 20 minutes. So just be prepared to have an emotional response because you are connecting with those unhealed traumatic experiences